Late night chat, the effort and grace version of it. Um, I guess if Jacima, if you can, well, before we do that, yeah, go ahead and display that. And who is going to get chosen to read this?
I don't mind.
Okay, go ahead.
Me? Oh,
Was that who said they would like to read?
oh, I would read that.
Okay, go ahead.
But okay, I have to see. Okay, making the screen bigger. Okay, dear folks of the hurdle of the mind. Dear folks of Baba, before we can enter permanently into the timeless and expansive realm of the heart, the home of Baba's divine love, we have to cross the hurdle of the mind. Darwin Shaw, through his own inner experience, was very knowledgeable about the many subtle ways that the mind, in collusion with the ego, seeks to sabotage our efforts to love unconditionally. Why would the ego ever want us to be loving when each time we express love, it loses a little more of control over us that it has enjoyed since the beginning of time? In this chapter, Darwin discusses some of the many beliefs and attitudes that we buy into that block our access into the realm of divine love. In the next chapter, Darwin goes into some of the ways to dispel these false beliefs and attitudes, which, as he says, come primarily from our subconscious. The most colossal delusion, of course, is the belief that this creation, as well as our ego, are real. How could we think otherwise unless we receive some glimpse of something beyond both of them? Even if we know intuitively that all life is an illusion, our many lifetimes of conditioning have entrenched us profoundly in the daily experience that our ego and creation are real. Focusing on Baba, the reality, thankfully dissolves very gradually our attachment to this world and our belief that it is real. The ego persists in controlling us by creating all manner of sanskaric clouds that veil insight into the deeper heart where divine love resides. In the form of what Darwin calls the wanting machine, the ego concocts innumerable desires for the things of this world, both large and small, which continually distract our attention. Hours go by, and we suddenly realize that we haven't even thought of Baba. As Baba has said, we are in fact already complete, but the ego keeps manufacturing wants that are the very antithesis of completeness. Fortunately, as the wanting machine slows down through Baba's grace, we experience some measure of our intrinsic wholeness. In a very unassuming way, the Mandali possessed a natural completeness, free of incessant wanting. I think I guess, I don't know, I don't mind finishing it, but
Yeah, go ahead.
okay. Also, in this chapter, Darwin discusses many of the things we accept as facts that are not really true. We accept as an undeniable fact that we are limited and separate from the rest of life. We think that our inner growth will happen automatically without our effort. We believe we have to purify ourselves before Baba will love us. That is, we put such limitation on Baba's acceptance of us, imposing our own conditions on his unconditional love. In buying into the illusion about time and space, we think of Baba as being of the past and somewhere else other than in the moment, in this moment. Sooner or later, we will see in the next chapter, we gradually lose some of our perpetual interest in the outer cinema of this world and become more absorbed in our inner drama with its breathtaking vistas of the foothills of the soul in the distance. I once asked Darwin, what is the biggest mistake Baba lovers are making? And he replied in his unassuming, compassionate way, they think of themselves as small, and they remain small. Think big. Think outside of even the conventional spiritual box. Baba himself urged us, be big-hearted. What do you think Baba meant by being big-hearted? The Sufi mystic Rumi has said, by the time the intellect has selected the ideal camel for the long and arduous pilgrim to Mecca, love has already climbed Mount Sinai. In his love, Jeff. P.S. We are continuing on page 10.
Thank you, Paula. Um, Before we begin, I was thinking next Sunday I think it's around the 6th or something, but we're approaching Silence Day, and I was wondering if we could devote it to Baba's silence. I mean, and I was thought if you could find quotes of Baba's that you especially like and what it might mean to you, and we can share a little bit about, Baba's silence as we come up to July 10th. And any anecdotes or whatever you have. And I thought, I don't know, how does that appeal to you folks?
Jeff. Sounds great.
And I even got Farish Day to get something from Hafiz about silence, so we'll see. Now, I always mention this, that this book of Darwin's is one of the major approaches to Baba, but it's not. But there are other more viable approaches, and it's more like a conscious inner journey toward the self-effacement. But I know one time years ago we used to have these meetings here in town, and we were discussing effort and grace and everything, and there was one guy there who was a long-time Baba lover, caretaker here at the center, much loved by everyone, and also a favorite of the Mandali. And at the end of our discussion and everything, he said, I don't know what you people are talking about. So what I mean is there are different approaches. He had a beautiful approach. But it didn't kind of cover this. So this is a specific approach. It's not the only way. And so in the next couple of chapters, Darwin talks about creating veils and dispelling veils. And I'm reminded of something that Prophet Muhammad said, between you, this is Prophet Muhammad, between you and me there are 49 veils. Between me and you there are no veils. So as some of these veils dissolve from our side, it seems like Baba's getting closer to us, but it's just quite the opposite. We're getting closer to him. So anyway, let's start.
I think we're on page 18, Jeff.
Oh, really?
I think
Oh,
so.
I was way off. Okay.
Cloudy weather within. Bob, is that right?
No.
Is it cloudy weather within?
That's what I had marked.
The other direction, Jacima, yeah.
There it is.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Any?
Bob, you want to read? Bob, are you there?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Cloudy weather within. Until we wake up to the awareness that we must make some efforts to get free of our samskaric bindings, we remain very busy continuously making veils over our consciousness, and then we wonder where the cloudiness we experience comes from and why we do not have insight. As Meher Baba has explained so clearly, sanskars are weaknesses or bindings, and sanskaric veils are obstacles on the path to our spiritual unfoldment. They cloud our consciousness so that we are unable to see clearly at inner levels, and they keep us from experiencing God within. Of course, one can only vaguely generalize about sanskaric veils. They would differ in detail with each individual and be peculiar to one's own distorted, ignorant inner consciousness. Most of the veils or impressions that we have absorbed and woven into samskaric patterns are created by the wanting machine of our desire nature, which is expressed mainly in the form of lust, greed, anger, selfishness, jealousy, a sense of aloofness, pride, and egoism in any form. Other veils are created by our many misconceptions and our false sense of limitation.
So, does anyone have anything to say to that? Darwin was, very into getting a little more clarity within, so we're not just driving blind. I mentioned it's like lifting up the hood, and you see, how things operate in there, and you can avoid going into that direction. You know where that road leads, and this leads to a more expansive state. Okay,
Carrie
we got.
Diane.
So scars has been one of those things that my brain tries to wrap itself around because I've been so dedicated my whole life to self-improvement. I've got an issue that I acknowledge, a weakness. I figure out ways to work it out, therapy or talking with my beloved wife, writing, all the different tools. So sanskaras, like no, I've always wanted somebody to tell me, give me an example of a sanskara. Is it?
Pick
Is it-
anything. Pick anything.
Okay, anybody
is it something
chime
that
in?
Is it something? Sorry, let me add the second part of
Yeah.
that. Is it something that we have any control of or any impact on by what we do?
No, I mean, if you witness somebody abusing somebody physically, it would make a deep impression on you. I mean, it is now in your consciousness. Now, then you have to figure out how to dissolve that heavy impression that you got. But you definitely are aware. It gets incorporated on your consciousness. So you have to do something to lighten it or dissolve it. I mean, usually, turning directly to Bob is the fastest way, but sometimes we have to use psychological methods to get some distance. So we don't just become our reaction. We get some space between our consciousness and our reaction. But anybody chime in there?
Not Rich. Are you chiming in, Rich?
Yeah.
On the same subject? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to say that this is a hard one for us brilliant Westerners, well read and instructed in psychology, and maybe some of the psychic or more occult parts of it. But the goal is not to become a better person. Get that out of your head. That is not the goal. The goal is not to love your neighbor and his dog or her. The goal is only to become one with Meher Baba. That is the only goal there is. And that's what Baba's, I call it transpersonal ego, but that's what the transfer of your awareness of self to Meher Baba self is all about. So sanskaras, Baba says, they're little fine nothings hidden in what he calls the mental body. And until you wake up from sleep and start thinking, cogniting, you energize. And the only way you can energize yourself in the finite imaginary world is to take one of those little sanskaras and say, God, I'm hungry. I just woke up. And all of a sudden, that goes through the subtle body, then it goes through your brain, and it becomes gross world. So what you have is gross sanskaras, Baba says. But really they come from the infinite fine nothingness. This is from infinite intelligence. But the bottom line is you will become one with Meher Baba. That will be your finest moment. It's not to become the best Diane that ever lived. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I would add to that somewhat, but I won't do it now.
Ron,
Because,
I'm sorry.
Also,
sorry,
Candy's
Joe.
raising her physical hand.
yeah,
Well, see, I can't see her because Ron went up first. Ron's
okay.
hand went-
No,
Now Ron's
Candy
hand
was
down
there.
is out. Candy, go.
I was going to add to, I was going to say something similar, but a lot simpler. That sanskaras, they live in the mental body and they have energy. That's the thing. They go into the subtle body and they have energy. So a thing that is you're saying, what is a sanskara? It's something that it's an impression. Then it comes from your mind. It goes through the subtle, which gives it energy. It lands in the gross, and it wants expression. So Diane, anything that you need, it begs for it. It has energy, so it begs for expression. It's not something that you can handle easily. And I know the Mandali, they used to say about many things, actually, referring back to what was it Rich said? Yeah. The Mandali were also not about whether you were a good person or a bad person. They would say things like, oh, it's just sanscarless. Because they knew that people were impelled by them. So you're saying, what is a sanskara? What is it in your life that, I mean, everything is sanskaras, really. All your desires to do things, all the things that are big for you to do. And you have all different kinds of sanskaras as well. So I don't know. I think I'll
But
stop there.
I should say, though, that love is sanscarless. When love comes into you, it actually dissolves as it comes through your, mental body, subtle body, gross body. It dissolves things right and left. So we want to switch over to the impressionless side of things whenever, as much as we can. That's Baba's grace, But hey, Sabine.
Johanna and Sabine.
Oh,
Yeah. Johannes and Sabine.
Okay, just me.
But I'd like to include him because he never
Yeah.
speaks. So I like to say his name now that I learned it.
yeah.
Okay, so on the theme of sanskaras, I don't know, but I've been wondering recently if Baba has taken a sanskara from me. All my sort of since my teenage years, what the Nazis did to the Jewish community and other people has weighed so heavily on me that I could not stay in Germany. I left when I was 21, and it even developed into a breathing difficulty. So, I felt like I couldn't really breathe in Germany. I was medically checked out. They couldn't find anything. And as soon as I moved to Switzerland with 21, all that breathing issue was gone, basically. But I still felt that, I always felt that weight of being German, that my ancestry is connected to all the atrocities the Nazis did. So when Baba came into my life in 2020, he said he wanted me to go to Dachau and he wanted me to go to Auschwitz. Now that had sort of been on my bucket list, not something I really wanted to do, but something I knew eventually had to do. So I went to Dachau, went to Auschwitz, and Baba really helped me through that. And he said to me, when you've been to Auschwitz, it's done. With whatever you've been carrying, it's done. And I could not believe that because it has been so integral for me my whole adult life. So 2 weeks ago, we went to Berlin and I went into the Jewish Museum again. And I thought, I wonder, last time I was here was in 2019, so before I came to Baba, and I was in tears. just reading those stories and accounts of people that survived, and I just couldn't contain myself. I couldn't contain the grief. And so I went to the Jewish Museum. It's 3 levels. It's an excellent exhibition. They sort of change it every 5 to 10 years, I think. So it was not the one I went to in 19. And I immersed myself in it. There was no grief, there was no anxiety, all that was gone. I couldn't believe it. And I was standing there thinking, well, maybe Baba really did what he promised, that after Auschwitz it would be gone.
Beautiful.
And it really was.
Yeah.
I loved reading and listening to everything. And sort of I went back a second day because I didn't have enough. And it was so wonderful because I've always been drawn to the Jewish faith, but I always, on the other side, had such a difficult time with it by being German and knowing what the Nazis did. And it was all completely gone. I was completely free. I talked to the Jewish people down in the cafeteria, and it was just wonderful.
Beautiful.
So I don't know if that
Sabine.
helps, Diane, but
But Baba's grace came in there, dissolved so
Yeah.
much of that, all that huge sanskaric complex that you've carried, your whole life. That's what Baba's grace does. It
Yeah.
can dissolve. It's
I don't think I could have done any of that. I
Yeah.
would not have even managed to go to Dachau. I had 3 attempts before that, and I always chickened out. And Auschwitz, I would never have done without Baba.
Yeah. Yeah, Darwin used to say Baba is impressionless being. So whatever impressions get connected with Baba get automatically dissolved. And you made that effort, and Baba, you made the effort and you got the grace.
What a
Beautiful.
profound story that is.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing. that.
very touching. God.
Wow.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much, Sabine. So
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Ron?
Thanks for the question.
Yeah, I want to talk about the part of the section that was read, which was the wanting machine. I really think the wanting machine has a lot to do with the generation of sanscaras, but it might also be able to be used to get rid of sanscaras or change them in some way. And so I want to I want to explain a situation when I was quite a bit younger than I am now. And I would be walking down the street in San Francisco, maybe. This is an example of what I wanted to say. Is I'd see a couple walk by, a young couple, younger than I was, maybe, or maybe about the same age sometimes. And I would note that the woman would be very attractive, and I would also recognize that a little bit of wanting machine started to rev up a little bit, and but I think Baba came to the rescue because he knew he was going to have to. I was going to have to deal with this ongoing for a while. He wasn't going to shame me or anything like that. But what he did was, he said, "Now, if you take me to be the only one, that there's only one, and you and I are one, all these people that you're looking at and relating to and all this, they're all one. You're no different. If you really believe that, if you not just believe it, but if that's your conviction, and you're going to live in accord with your conviction, then you should understand that those two people are you. That's who, they're just another one of you. And so if they're enjoying each other's company, then so should you enjoy and appreciate the fact that they are, a nice couple enjoying one another, and let that stand instead of wanting to somehow get involved in it in some way where it's not going to happen anyway. So why not just be happy for them? Anyhow, I think
Yeah.
that makes some sense.
Excellent. One nice thing as you get older is you can actually enjoy other people enjoying themselves. You don't have to be in the mix. From a distance, you can enjoy other people.
Exactly. Well, and
It's
I
great.
wasn't even that old, but Baba came to the rescue on that one.
Yeah, that's
As
beautiful.
guidance. Yeah.
Yes, Bob.
Yes, one of my, Baba once defined samskaras as solidified might, which always made so much sense to me because samskaras, most of them are in the subconscious, but they want to drive action. And the most solid experience or example I can come up with is when I quit smoking years ago. Um, I I realized that um, before I had the desire to have a cigarette, the thought would occur, and then that thought would take on energy and create that hunger to have a cigarette. And as the process of quitting smoking went on and on and on, I realized that I might have the thought of a cigarette, but there wasn't energy to it anymore. It was gone. It was worn out. There was no more drive to actually do that. So, and that's there. I guess there are many, many ways to achieve that, whether it's renunciation or just quitting whatever it is or giving it to Baba. There are so many techniques we can use, but that solidified might has to be dealt with. So,
Beautiful. Yeah, no, these examples are very helpful. I just digress here a little bit, but Darwin would say, I mean, eventually you get to the point where the finest tremor of anger, say, that comes up in you, you jump on that and give it to Baba, because if you don't, then the mind jumps on the anger, and it creates, and it gets mixed up with, and then before you know it, you're 35 miles downstream, you know, and I mean, it's very hard to pick these things up early enough and give them to Bob. But once the mind gets in it, that's a problem. Then once the heart gets into it, the emotions, then you got a huge thing, and it's hard to stop the train from barreling down into your private life. Okay.
Andy.
Yeah, that reminds me of something Don Stevens used to say was he would say to me, there's always a few seconds before you react.
Yeah.
It's that moment. That is the moment you have to seize and think of
Yeah,
Baba or
he used to call that the neutral plateau.
yeah.
You want to have where you can actually switch the train so it goes on a
yeah.
goes on a side thing. Anyway, so let's go on to the next section there, Jay Seema. Yeah.
Seema.
Virginia, do you want to read? Okay, cool. Excuses. Did we read excuses? No.
Yeah, that's it. Excuses is the
Excuses. Dispelling the veils over our consciousness is subjective work, and my understanding from Meher Baba is that the path for each of us lies through our own sanskaric veils and requires personal efforts. To hold to the belief that the clearing out of those veils will occur on its own over time without our making efforts is to postpone our freedom. We find all kinds of excuses for preserving our own little desire nature and ego. Most people want to play in illusion and have their inner freedom too. We want a sense of spiritual protection and guidance, but we develop a philosophy of life that includes and accommodates our weaknesses. Further, we do not realize that those are weaknesses. We think they are simply attributes of gross consciousness. So when it comes to giving up all these veils, people tend to rationalize. Is it really time for us to do that? Is it really necessary? Does Baba mean for us to do all that? Or for all of us to do that, or just as closest Eastern disciples.
Yeah. Darwin used to have this expression, metaphysical rationalization. You know what's amazing? I mean, say if you're trying to give up lust, you don't feel free at all. You're really bound in trying to struggle with this. So you can't just go by the by the immediate experience. When you get to the other side of it, you're kind of free. But the effort may not feel very liberating until you kind of get through it a little ways. Okay.
Yes, Diane.
I forgot who said it, but I want to unpack it a little more. But they were saying about, I think it was Bob, when Bob was talking about stopping smoking. It got to a point where you still had the thought didn't leave your life, but the drive, the energy behind it was gone. Very much like the story that was a beautiful story. Oh, that Sabine told. That the shame of your heritage. It almost got dispersed, and you could be present and not be so stymied. I find that the need to grasp onto this way of thinking, because it's what will propel my life. You can get so stuck in what is going on in the world, it almost takes your breath away. That without understanding what you can and can't do in your own life, I'm now going in circles, so I'm going to exit right now, but I think y'all know what I mean. But I want to thank people for sharing their take on sanskaras and what happens when you actually see them dissolve.
Beautiful. Going back to what Bob said, like he has this habit of smoking, and it's at a mental level, but he kept it from going down to the energy level. If it had gone to the energy level, he'd be out reaching for a cigarette, But if you can stop it at the mental level so it doesn't get the energy to push itself into action. Oh, I'm getting a call here. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll go to Rich.
This is quick, but I've been seeing this exactly almost in my life in the past couple of years. And the more I've been feeling Baba and this upliftment of heart and consciousness, the more I've realized that I want to be attached. And I'm giving an example. I love cars. I love cars. I love them. And there's more beautiful cars today than there's ever been. And the way they're designed, their functionality, fuel injection, and so many other things. But I also worked on cars. So there's a lot of energy involved in my affection for cars. It's a desire. And I could say, oh, it's a desire of selfishness. Yeah. But I've been watching that, and I'm trying to slowly turn the corner to just admitting I like functional things. I like cars. They have tires and they roll down the road. They do all kinds of, but I don't have to be in lust with cars because I have been.
Very good. Candy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have the exact same thing with the smoking. Exactly. But I never thought of it the way it was just expressed, which is so exactly interesting, because I smoke outside, but now I'll be sitting inside and I'll think about a cigarette, but I don't have the physical, it doesn't move me to go outside and have one. So it just goes in my mind and out. And now I'm down to 1 cigarette a day.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Anyway, but it's exactly like that. It's like the energy behind it has dissipated. there's not enough to make me actually go do it. It just sits in my head for a while and then goes away. So I find that so interesting. I never thought of it like that. That explanation about the energy of the sanscara. So anyway, just wanted
Yeah.
to say that.
Beautiful.
And if you can't stop it at the mental level and it comes down to the energy level, it's possible to stop it at that level so it doesn't project itself into action. So
Yeah.
you've got another stopgap, you know.
Well, there was
Okay.
the drinking, Baba completely took that away.
Yeah.
Completely gone. One day, absolutely gone. So Baba does do that. He does
Yeah.
take stuff away. So, you know.
Yeah.
But didn't Baba say that our connection with him, he does take us forward in ways that we ordinarily might be slower because we're connected with him, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Bob,
but-
that was a really good explanation because it helped me too. It's so clear. And before I felt all muddled up trying to, stop doing something. So that was really good, Bob. Thank you.
But what's that ashtray doing on that table behind you? That's what
Oh God.
Okay. Let's go on to the next section.
Okay. Let's see who would like to read.
Hey, let's get Dan Sparks.
Oh, good. Okay.
We need someone from Oklahoma to.
Okay. Desires. Is that it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
More than anything else, our veils result from our attraction to objects and sensations at exterior and interior levels that captivate and preoccupy our consciousness. Such preoccupation amounts to a wasting of our lifetime. Mayor Baba says that in our state of ignorance, we are continually in the grip of wanting. Wanting becomes a habit, and we look for reasons to keep it functioning. Our ego is made up of fat strands of desires consisting of psychic tentacles continuously reaching out for things, and it is reluctant to give up its life. It is very clever at deceiving our minds in order to retain its existence and even at finding ways to expand its scope. We are like the lean, hungry rabbit who comes upon a farmer's fenced-in garden. After he finds a way to sneak under the fence, the rabbit eats and enjoys. Then he decides to head for home, but he cannot get back under the fence because he is too fat. We fatten ourselves in the Garden of Eden, the illusory creation, and then one day wake up to the fact that we are captives. We begin to long for freedom. We realize that we have to cease going after everything that comes along. We see that we must slim down by getting rid of these sanskaric veils, our desires and attachments at the gross level. Fundamentally, desires are a repudiation of our innate completeness. Not a separate completeness, but completeness within the aura of the Master's divine love and grace. The wanting machine is the only thing keeping us from our completeness. We discover that when we make an effort and manage to stop the wanting machine even for a short time, we can experience our inherent completeness to some degree.
Wow.
Thank you, Dan. Any anything to say to that?
I do.
Yeah.
I have a question. In the past, I think I've tried to change habits that I didn't appreciate by consciously trying to stop them, which hardly ever works. So my thought comes, okay, I never used to order anything online. And now there's Amazon. And it seems like I
Uh-oh.
order, well, whatever I want, because I don't want to go to stores. And the other day I was thinking, I never used to buy anything. Never buy anything online. Now it seems like it's so convenient. And so I'm thinking right now, so if I wanted to change the sanskara of desires or wanting, and I just decide, okay, I'm getting out of Amazon, I'm not going to pay, and I'm not going to order online, and make that kind of deliberate effort. Am I creating more sanskaras by forcing something, or is it more to keep Amazon and observe myself and try to let it go?
Yes.
That's second.
Andy says yes.
Yeah, second thing. Yes. Baba has said on that, repression is not the way. Baba said repression is not the way. Take him with you into it. And
Yeah.
always remember him in whatever you do. And that's what he said.
And you can send me stuff if you like. I mean, it's all right.
Take Baba with you shopping.
Send it to the mayor's center. Then
That is so funny.
Yes, Paula.
No, I can't believe you just said that, because every night I sit on a handleless bicycle for it doesn't have any bars on it. It's just a seat with pedals. And I watch YouTube art videos. And there's this one person that I watch, and I'm so jealous because she's like pretty, she's an incredible artist, and companies much give her from Amazon. Like, she's got boxes of supplies they just donate to her. And she has every kind of, I can't even believe it. She has everything. So what I have been like almost binging on buying art supplies myself on Amazon. So this is so funny that you just brought this up, Marta. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah.
But anyway, and it's like it's a bit out of hand now. It is really a bit out of hand. And because I live on a limited, but I live on my Social Security, really, and there's not a budget for what I'm doing. So I just think it is, so it's like, it just reminds me of this like wanting machine, and I've just got to stop. I just have to stop.
Yeah. Well, we have if someone can post that number for Amazon Anonymous, and both Marta will be there. Okay.
Marta and Paula. Christina. Hey, you're muted.
Oh,
Hi everyone. I
yeah.
I feel uniquely qualified to talk about this particular issue. I canceled my Amazon account. I really did. I did. I realized it wasn't really adding to my life. And like Marta, you said, there's all these options and things that you didn't even know you needed, or you think you need. I tell you, I did it months ago. I don't miss it at all. Not one bit. It's gone.
No withdrawal symptoms or anything?
No, it's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Going back to that, what Darwin says there, completeness, because Diane was, talking about self-improvement. And one of the traps of self-improvement is that it's future-oriented. And I found, I'm just talking about my own life, self-acceptance and self-compassion were closer to where I wanted to be than self-improvement. I found self-improvement was endless. And when I would achieve one thing, then they move the goalposts, and I have farther to go. And then I get to there, and that's, so the thing about that, I've talked to Darwin about these things, that when you get kind of addicted to self-improvement, then it puts us attention over the heart, because there's where you are and the where you should be, or the where you want to be. It creates a tension over the heart, and so love kind of gets backed up, or it doesn't flow. But self-acceptance, the love, even though, I mean, self-acceptance with your good and bad and all that, there's a relaxation so that the love that's within us can flow, percolate through. So I'm just saying that as a
That's
adjunct onto
beautiful.
this.
Yeah.
I think.
So is it Candy or is it Ron again?
Yeah, I just want to say that I know exactly what you mean, but what I try to do instead is please Baba.
Yeah.
So that becomes the thing. The thing is not I should
Excellent.
be better.
Yeah.
I failed here. I did that, whatever.
Yeah.
No, just please Baba. Baba, I'm trying to please you. Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
Finish.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, but Baba doesn't care if I go to Amazon or not. Come on, really?
No, he doesn't.
No. So that
Well,
is that.
Well, if it distracts your attention
yeah.
from him,
Oh, it's not that bad.
you know,
Then he might, yes.
but it also can, you know, if it's a gift to somebody, it can also.
Oh, okay,
Well,
Ron.
I don't do
Ron.
that. I go, Baba, let's go shopping.
Uh-oh. Those are the famous last words before.
Do you like that one, Baba?
Okay, Ron, what do you have to say about this, Saul?
Well, there's a story that some may have heard about Baba, who met up with a drunkard in a little village where he was giving a darshan program, and this fellow was despised by almost everybody in the whole village, and they were so shocked when Baba asked him to come and sit right next to him. And Baba was asking him about, you know, his drinking, what he liked to drink and how much he drank and different things. He was befriending this fellow. And at some point, Baba asked him, you know, like, well, so how much do you drink in a day? And the guy said, I drink a bottle. And so Baba said, I was wondering if you thought you could take up this challenge that I have for you, which is to not drink more than one bottle. Do you think you could do it? And, you know, this was his only friend that he was talking with. And he says to Baba, yeah, I think I can do it. I mean, that's what I've been doing. So he immediately was challenged with something where he had confidence. Because a lot of the times, if we don't have really great confidence in ourselves to make a good decision, we start fighting with ourselves, and we don't, you know, it becomes a terrible experience and an emotional disaster. So it's better a better way is to create a regimen. So Baba created a regimen for this guy because he took Baba up on the challenge and he did it. Next time Baba saw him, he says, are you still drinking just one bottle? He said, oh yes, Baba. And this guy was developing discipline and confidence in himself, which he never had. All he could think of was the conflict between that people thought he was a jerk because he spent all his money on the wine and not on taking care of his family, a family. And so then Baba asked him if he could do 3/4 of a bottle. And he had the confidence now, so he thought he could do it. And so Baba said, well, go ahead, try it. Go for the 3/4. And then he did the 3/4. And then it was a half. And then the next time he saw this fellow, he said, you still doing a half? He said, Baba, I quit several weeks ago. You know, he had the confidence and he knew what he wanted to do, but he was doing it for himself. To Baba, it didn't matter. For Baba, it was the way of connecting with this fellow and instilling in him something that's much more important than whether he was drinking wine or not, but rather how he felt about himself, his own self confidence, and having a sense of discipline and doing something for Baba.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is something that's important. I have tried this technique with myself by things that I felt like I should back off on, but if I didn't think I could do it, I thought if it was too much of a strain, I wouldn't do it. I would only do something that I thought I could do and stick with that and then see how
Take
that
the
went.
take the next little step.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, not the forswearing it all altogether,
Yeah,
but
this is something
incrementally.
that's become
Yeah,
popular in psychology,
yeah,
but Baba used it in that particular incident and
yeah.
probably other ones as well.
And you know the famous saying, "I'd rather have a free bottle in front of me than a prefrontal lobotomy."
Yeah.
No,
Will you repeat that, Jeff, for a second?
really? I'd rather have a free bottle in front of me than a prefrontal lobotomy.
Very
Okay.
good. Yes, Rich.
I'll make this quick. This is my little comment. Infinite intelligence from our tour guide Meher Baba, but this desiring thing that Darwin is talking about, Baba actually gave a name called primarily the single one name, if it's his upapog, and upapog means taking the pleasure of an experience, and what it does is it creates another little oomph in your what Baba calls your Chaitanya consciousness. Chaitanya is the knowing consciousness that's involved with creation. We know ourselves as a being within creation. That's Chaitanya. Upapog is taking the pleasure of a cigarette or lust for a car to be a part of creation, and it's part of your Chaitanya, your body. And Chaitanya lasts all the way up until I think like the fifth plane or something. But well, that's my little infinite intelligence footnote for today.
Okay.
Very good.
We're taking notes here.
Mhm.
Okay, let's go on to the next section. This is really good. These are Darwin is very good at, you know, highlighting these things that we buy into, these illusions that we pick that we get into, and they block, they cloud our inner insight. You know, you might say. Okay.
Tony, do you like to read?
Sure, that'd be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Limitations.
Mm-hmm.
One time in 1954, when 18 of us Western men were gathered in the big room in the retreat. Hold on one second. I just want to turn off this. Thank you. One time in 1954, when 18 of us Western men were gathered in the big room in the retreat building in Maribon as Baba's guests for 3 weeks, Baba said, "When we go outside this room, we see the hills, etc. Why? Because we have projected it out of us. It is all we. Being in God, we are the sole producers of all phenomena, and we get entangled in that. It is very difficult to come out of that entanglement," unquote. This means that we make veils by taking as real those conditions that we ourselves have created in the first place. We impose restrictions on our own consciousness. Through complacency, we tend to accept spiritual limitations without being conscious that we are doing so. We think in terms of separation, multiplicity, and eventuality. Spiritual limitations include being bound by time, which, Baba has said, is the invention of Maya, illusion. Our sense of time needs to undergo a change. We have allowed it to condition our thinking. We must repudiate the future. For example, Baba tells us how many lifetimes it takes before we reach the goal of God realization or liberation. Many people feel discouraged and think it will be ages before they reach the goal. However, I take the attitude that most of those lifetimes are behind us. Spiritual limitations are deeply ingrained within our consciousness. We are comfortable with them, and to be unlimited seems strange to us. But we can easily experience great spiritual freedom and salvation by accepting the immediacy of the Master's love and grace. To do this, however, we have to stop limiting God. Sometimes we judge his omnipotence and imagine him to be lacking. We affirm that he is omnipotent, that he can do anything, but we feel and act to the contrary. We may also discover that we are placing limits upon the master. We have a tendency to unconsciously form beliefs that keep us bound to limitations and actually prevent us from drawing closer to the master, to Baba. Thinking that we must purify ourselves before surrendering to him is an example of a limitation based on the misconception that his love for us is conditioned by our so-called goodness or worthiness. By thinking this, we are limiting the possibility of experiencing his unlimited, unconditional love. Or we may think of Baba as of the past and believe that closeness to him is no longer possible. This misconception is the result of thinking of him as his physical body. In fact, Baba is of the present and is more accessible than ever. Harboring spiritual limitations has the effect of limiting, within our minds and hearts, the scope of our possibilities. Baba says that what we have to do is reverse the process of creation and perception without obliterating consciousness. Becoming aware that we are the ones programming our limitations is one aspect of the conquering of the unconscious that Baba refers to. Yay, Baba.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That
Yeah.
is a very that's a very subtle point of view. We've had struggle. We used to ask Darwin about this. Very hard to really understand it, but let's see if anybody can help us with that.
Ask a question, Jeff, on the last paragraph. What does it mean? Baba says that what we have to do is reverse the process of creation and perception without obliterating consciousness. What does that mean?
Wow.
I had it once.
Oh, good. I feel better now.
See, when you stop, say, a whole pattern of desire, you are reversing the whole process. You're stopping the whole process of creating new things.
Oh.
It's funny. I'm looking over at Dan Sparks, and it looks like he's got a baker's hat on his head.
Oh, it does.
What is that? Anyway, I thought I like it.
So now, Jeff, you have to reverse the process of perception and creation when you look at Dan. I think that's what Bob was talking about.
Very good, Tony.
So, again, can anyone unpack that for us?
Oh, God.
This is something that they were in the museum room, when this was, Baba said that.
This is something you have to go paragraph by paragraph. I mean, this is so dense.
Yeah.
It's so incredibly dense. There's so much said in this. It's amazing. I mean, I grabbed onto the misconception of just one of the things I grabbed onto. I mean, there's a lot, but
what paragraph?
The one where he says, or we may think of Baba as of the past and believe that closeness to him is no longer possible. This misconception is a result of thinking of him in the physical body. Guilty.
Yeah. Or even of the future. As a lot of the Christians do, they think they're going to meet Jesus later on, but not quite yet. Not in this moment.
I can't get out of the thinking. It always creeps up on me. Like I'm good for a while, but then it creeps up on me that my feeling sorry for myself that I didn't actually meet Baba physically.
Yeah.
One
thing that Baba conveyed to me, might respond to that, is you said, I come each time to tell you I'm always here. And then when I die, you say I'm gone. They come to tell us they're always here. but then we we project our body and they've gone, and so so it's very hard to keep that in mind, that they're always here. But the Buddha is right here, Jesus is right here, Muhammad, they're all right here in this moment. They can't get out of this moment, and neither can we. But it seems like if we can go energetically to the future, the past, we can get out of this moment. But no one, Henry Cashowdy used to say, is there any other moment other than the present? You can't get out. But it's we go through an optical illusion of thinking, oh, I'm back in the past now. I'm back in childhood. I'm running around my grade school. But that's just happening right here in this. That happened right here in this moment. It didn't happen back 70 years ago or whatever. Okay.
Rich.
I don't have a lot of deep insight into this, but what this paragraph is talking about is super difficult in my mind. And there.
Is everyone
me,
muted, please? Paula?
Damien Trudier.
Something's happening. I'm sorry, Rich, excuse me. There's noise going on. I'm trying to find out where it's coming from. Okay, go ahead, Rich. I'm sorry.
I'll try. But the bottom line is, I think for me, when I'm out doing something simple, let's just keep it simple. When I'm out and about thinking about who am I, what am I experiencing, my consciousness experiencing, I don't always grasp that. I don't always realize that Baba is there with me, or it's Baba. But when I start to remember that, or recall, or invoke Baba's presence into my consciousness, I start wondering, how in the heck can I do it? I mean, how does it happen? I mean, my whole Chaitanya, going back to that, my whole enterprise in being rich in this creation has been a plethora of either conflicts, desires, ambitions, falsity, you name it, and hopes, illusions, of course. And Baba comes along to say, forget it, forget it, forget it. None of it is real. So that's about as far as I really get. None of it's real. I know that. A lot of us know that. But it's only Baba who can transport us into his reality.
You might find this interesting, that this is this is like PhD level or postgraduate level. Dan Ladinsky was with Erich one time, and Erich said to him, "There's been no Erich for years. Through his grace, I've become the perfect witness. There has been no Erich for years. Through his grace, I've become the perfect witness." So he's seeing Erich there, who he formerly identified with Erich. Now Erich is really just one of the forms of Baba in creation, and Erich is outside looking at it. And I think of it as like a movie. Like there's this cosmic movie going on, and I see this Jeff Wolverton. Oh, hey, I like that guy. I'm gonna check him out. Oh, Marta said, oh, I like her. And so then by identifying with that person, then when they fall in love, you fall in love. When they suffer, you suffer. When they succeed, you succeed. But at the end of the movie, you're just there with your popcorn and your half-drunk soda, because it was all a projection. So as long as we keep projecting, we are going to keep this whole thing going. What was that line at the very end? In order to stop creation, you have to stop this identification. And that is, Darwin used to talk about stuff like that. But like I say, that's postgraduate stuff.
Oh, Patty.
Jai Baba, everybody. I was just going to bring up that last line, and I was going to add a comment about it in regards to, and also, Jeff, I appreciate what you just said right now. It's kind of a summation of it. Becoming aware that we are the ones programming our limitations is one aspect of conquering the unconscious that Baba refers to. And you know, I just have to say my mind is always interrupting everything. And the attempts I have to still my mind and invite Baba into the moment keeps me more present and less thoughts rattling me. And I believe that, you know, there's the Buddhists and the Tibet, you know, all the people say, empty the mind, empty the mind, empty the mind. And basically Baba's saying that, but, you know, we're helpless to do it unless we don't have some form of practice. For me anyway, you know, I was speaking totally for me, and in the midst of love and in the midst of those years when we were in the Mandali Hall and all the times we were witnessing such flow of consciousness from all the Mandali and the conversations, I personally couldn't have a thought. I mean, it was an absorption rather than and it just came through. But I wasn't really thinking about it at the time, but it comes through you. And, but, you know, I really believe you really have to have some form of daily practice, whether it's sitting, saying Baba's name, singing the names of God, doing whatever so that you can get the rattling crap out of there right now. And believe me, there's so much crap, excuse me, but, you know, so much absurdity that you really want to go back into the inside. And because I think we're helpless to really do it. I think the effort we make in whatever it is that we pretend we're doing to help ourselves is how he can come in and eliminate it and free us up, basically.
Yeah, there's a Sufi line that goes, the truth we tell of cannot be found by seeking, yet only seekers find it.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
Kind of paradoxical.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a guy way there from Australia. Should we let him in on this thing?
Sure. Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Okay, hi guys. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for that. I'm enjoying this very much. Of course, it's been a really good session. I guess what I was getting from that last paragraph, or from that whole that was read out, was the sense that, as a summation, as I think was other people have said, of the whole section that we've been reading, that sanscaras and our attachment and sense that we can find fulfillment in our sanskaras is what drives us to keep indulging in them and using them, because we think this is going to make us happy. I think what Darwin then shows us at the end here is that false promise that we believe in, and that we can, if we are able to instead see what's the opportunity that Baba offers us in being our real self and being in touch with our real heart and being in touch with Baba. That's where we want to be. That's where our real happiness lies, not in these sanskaras, not in fulfilling these desires. They're only taking us away from that. So I think that's what I pick up out of this, out of that last section.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, in other words, in shifting the efforts to find fulfillment from our sanskaras in the world, find that fulfillment in Baba, in remembering Baba. Make that entire shift. Yeah.
Jeff, I just want to remind you, it's after 11 now.
Yeah.
Candy wants to say one thing.
Oh, I was just going to say that from the previous thing that we read, relating to what was just said. Even worse than that is that I found that it really rang true when he said what we want to have, it's like we have, I'll speak for myself, one foot in each camp. So I expect to get happiness from fulfillment of my sanskaras, but I also want the consciousness that Baba and the love that Baba offers,
Yeah.
both at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, yeah.
That's it right there. That's the
I'm
whole
thinking
thing.
I'm going to bring candy. I'm going to bring candy into into the whole thing.
I
But I'm
like.
not.
There's a line of Darwin where he used to say, "What we're trying to do is harmonize with our sanskaras,
Yeah.
rather
Yes.
rather than
Yes.
harmonizing with Baba."
Yes. Exactly. 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 Exactly.
So anyway, I think we maybe we should stop here because it's after 11 o'clock. And any last, any loose change, anything here at the very end? Um, yeah, it was nice to see Virginia, and
I just say I've never seen Damien online before. Truly, yeah. Huh.
Yeah, it's just a tape. It's not really him. He just, he's doing the overnight on the inside of the center. Okay, let's have a.
Where do we begin again? What's the paragraph?
Misconceptions is next week.
Yeah, misconceptions.
Oh, okay.
Is the next one.
Yeah, okay.
We got Robert there.
Next week is silence.
Oh yeah, next week we're going to do find anything about silence that you that that touches you, or some some your experience with Baba's silence, all of that.
Jeff, good
What
thing
does
that
Baba mean by real things are given and received in silence? What does that mean? That's something. Okay, Robert.
Yeah, I really appreciate all the RST shares. I'm beginning to see I don't know if it's 100% true, but I think there's a lot of similarities between addictions and sanskars. In a way, I'm seeking fulfillment, it's addiction. I personally, I'm celebrating 25 years away from alcohol next month. So I'm really, really happy about that. It's going to be a good month for me to celebrate that. I have no desire to drink now. Nothing, not whatsoever. Not a single drop, a single desire. But I'm wondering if you see that. I mean, I think it's more than that, just that. But I think there is a definite correlation between addiction and sanskaras.
Definitely, yeah. A whole cluster of them pulls you over until you break that, break that connection.
I wanted to add something interesting also about
Yeah.
when I stopped smoking and I mean I have no desire to drink really anymore, but I drink occasionally if there are people around. But the thing is I had no desire to stop. That was the most amazing thing. So most people are making efforts to stop drinking or smoking.
Yeah.
And I used to proudly say, no, I like smoking and drinking, and I'm going to continue doing it.
Yeah.
And then Baba still took it away. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Sometimes he does it without your effort,
Yeah, completely without my effort. Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing.
Beautiful.
We got Damien up there who's supposed to be on duty and shutting off the lights, but Damien.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. Anyway, as someone noted, I've never seen me on. I do so little online Zoom stuff, but this is sweet. I had to check in with Jeff because I'm on duty now doing the overnight, and it was very sweet to hear you guys. And I was very much a part of helping with effort and grace, so it was sweet to hear Darwin's good words, and just really nice to see everybody out there.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
And I'm hoping I'm driving on the center right now down to the barn, so I hope you guys can feel some of that vibe there.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, Damien.
All right.
We got Sabine or Johannes, either one.
Yeah, I just wanted to say we won't be with you the next 2 Mondays because next Monday we're making our way to Fallenflu. It's Fallenflu
Oh,
week again on Saturday the 12th.
oh, good. Fallen flu.
And then the following Monday we're driving back. So, you know.
Yeah. Boy, but it was really nice your sharing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Fallenflu. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Frisco
Sample-
Kid.
Does that mean me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, just a very ending up with what you were saying about addictions and also a silence day. That is from what I've been able to understand and looking at Silence Day myself recently and in Baba's quotes is that his breaking of his silence is part of humanity is addicted to this illusion and to everything, our separateness, our fulfillment in our self-centered state. And that Baba's silence is to break that, will transform that by his manifestation. But we are in the present state of addiction, an illusion. It's all of us, all humanity, and Baba's grace will be his breaking of the silence and his manifestation. That's what I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all addicted to the bottle of self-preoccupation for sure. So as anybody, we didn't hear from Goer at all. Any last, besides a quote, anything that comes to mind?
If anything affects me or if there's any kind of impulse to react to a sanskaric impression, my only thing is to leave it all to Baba, and he does take care of everything. So that's the easiest and quickest way. And sanskars will always impel you to do things. It's the stuff that wakes you up in the morning, actually. So so it's a very big thing. And and we keep creating these impressions over and over. So the easiest and quickest way is to just give it to Baba, and he takes care of it. Just as Candy was saying, that she didn't even have to make the effort, that it was time for her to let that go, and he came in and dissolved that for her. So that's it.
Yeah.
And I do have a quote to end with, and this goes to our perception. We were talking about perceptions and how we perceive things, and so this quote is a beautiful one from Baba. I've entitled it as "What the Soul Can See," and Baba says, "It does not require a large eye to see a large mountain. The reason is that though the eye is small, the soul which sees through it is greater and vaster than all the things which it perceives. In fact, it is so great that it includes all objects, however large or numerous, within itself. For it is not so much that you are within the cosmos as that the cosmos is within you." Jai Baba.
Read that one once again. This is a deep clue to this whole mess. Yeah.
It does not require a large eye to see a large mountain. The reason is that though the eye is small, the soul which sees through it is greater and vaster than all the things which it perceives. In fact, it is so great that it includes all objects, however large or numerous, within itself. For it is not so much that you are within the cosmos as that the cosmos is within you. Jai Baba.
Yeah.
Jai Baba.
Erish used to say, "This whole world is yours, but you have to claim it. Through love, you bring what's outside inside." Okay, let's have
just one last.
Yeah.
Can I just say one last thing on sanscaras that I just recently read, which I didn't know. I read it in creation and its causes, where Baba actually talks about, he says that, yeah, you have good sanskaras and bad sanskaras, and you have to spend them all. But you also have spiritual sanskaras, and they never get spent. He said they're like money in the bank. Those were my words.
Yeah.
So that's something interesting, I think.
Forever chemicals, right? Okay, let's have a few moments of silence. Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba.
So, hey, Dinesh, yeah.
Jai Baba, Jai.
Jai Baba, nice. Yeah. Someone from India has arrived. Yeah.
I came to Seattle. My daughter is staying here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Seattle. I grew up in Tacoma and Seattle. Yeah. That's
Good
my.
night.
So anything, any last minute? I guess we'll head off into the ether.
Hey, Baba. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Jai Baba, much love.
Thank
Jai
you.
Baba, everyone.
Nazreen is here.
What's that?
Nazreen is here.
Oh, Nasreen. Okay. Nasreen, come out of your hiding there. Let's see. She's the bouncer. She empties the tavern. Nasreen.
No, she was here.
Payam, you've got to do it then.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Avatar
Jai
Meher
Baba.
Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Hey, did I hear Nasreen in there?
She's there again.
Did I hear her well?
Jai Baba.
Anyway, much love. See all of you folks. Bye bye.
Good night.
So think about